Hello, dear students. Let's begin with a very beautiful, wonderful poem by Robert Browning, "The Last Ride Together." As you've already completed My Last Duchess in the last classes, we have another poem which is prescribed in your course, and this is one of the marvelous poems published in the volume named Men and Women in the year 1855. Now, this poem, by the title itself, you can make it out that a last ride or a request that is being made by the lover to his beloved, and then what kind of experiences the lover is having while he persists and pursues her for this last ride. Now, another thing that you should know about that this poem is a perfect illustration of dramatic monologue, where the poet loses himself in a character and conceives in a situation and pursues with a psychological interest and attention. The poem consists of 10 stanzas of 11 lines each with an unusual rhyme pattern. That is, it's A, B, B, C, D, D, E, 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 and C. So let's start with the first stanza. The text is there in front of you, and I hope you will be opening your text, and let's focus to the beginning of the poem. How does Browning begins the poem? The first stanza. I said then, dearest, since 'tis so, since now at length my fate I know, since nothing all my love avails, since all my life seemed meant for fails, since this was written and needs must be, my whole heart rises up to bless your name in pride and thankfulness. Take back the hope you gave, I claim only a memory of the same, and this beside, if you will not blame, you leave me for one more last ride with me. Now the poem begins with, see the first line in the first word, I said, in capital letters, which indicates one of the characteristic features of dramatic monologues, where the speaker is a lover here, a rejected lover. Of course, I said also indicates a kind of possessiveness, I, possessive pronoun. It says, I said. So, he's a rejected lover who accepts his dismissal at the hand of the woman he loved, without bitterness and without anger, but he begs her a favor for at least one last ride together. The lover begins to speak in an abrupt manner. For a time, he was so possessed by the passion of love that life seemed to him to be meant only for love. If the lady had postponed her decision out of pity, she would have insulted his manliness, his strength of character. But in speaking of out her mind openly, she has recognized his manly strength, and so out of pride and thankfulness towards her, she ultimately decides to agree for a last ride, and that's why the lover blesses her. Now, in the second stanza, in stanza 2, the woman, actually the lady, we can say in other words, hesitates a bit. She's hesitant about it, about giving her consent. She hesitates for a moment, and then she granted his prayer for the last ride. She grants the prayer for the last ride. So, love will defy him for one day more, and it matters not if the world ended that night. Now, in her dark, deep eyes, there's a reference to the dark, deep eyes here. Her pride protests when pity makes her yield to her rejected lover's last prayer. He says, but her pride tells her to reject that prayer, but her pity softens her pride into yielding after all it was that the last prayer was considered. The conflict between pity and pride here, quivered in her dark, deep eyes, is being focused by Browning in the second stanza. The lover felt that if his beloved acceded to his prayer, it would be life for him, and if she rejected it, it would be death of all his desires. All his desires, all his passions will be nullified, and it will be just like another death for the lover. Love will glorify him into God for a day. So, according to Browning, love was a very a feeling full of passion. It was not only passion, it was divine, it was pure, it was holy. For Browning, love was an ennobling passion, and it is the very essence of divinity, which persisted with him till the very end. So, actually, we can say that uh, Browning is reflecting his own, ideology of love and about his feelings that he wants to reflect through the lover, because basically fundamentally we can say that Browning is the speaker, and he has created this character which is generally being created in dramatic monologues, where the uh, the character or the lover here becomes the, you can say, mouthpiece of the poet's feelings, his expressions, his attitudes, his ideologies, and also the psychology of the character we can study very beautifully and very aptly in this poem, The Last Ride Together. We'll stop here and we'll continue with the third stanza in the next class. Thank you.